You might be forgiven for thinking that this was your only charging option at a motorway service station. Like a couple of old battered electric highway units, but a little bit too close to the entrance and often blocked by some idiot that's parked but not even charging just because it's a bit closer to the door. And you could, until recently, that very much was the case. If you didn't want to actually leave the motorway, this was pretty much all you had. Times are changing though. Today I'm at Corley Services Southbound, where InstaVolt have just opened a brand new site with a lot more chargers than usual and exactly the kind of availability that we need for the expanding uptake of electric vehicles in the UK, given that sales are at a record high and that's only going one way. Just a short hop away in exactly the same car park but a little bit further away from the door, we have 7 of these lovely, very familiar InstaVolt rapid chargers. We've got 750 kilowatt chargers on this site, but I'm actually led to believe that these units are capable of being upgraded in the future should a bigger grid connection become available. I'm going to plug in and charge, maybe not for too long, because I'm actually on my way to Rugby to look at the new electric highway site there, which I would imagine that video will be up before this one. If you haven't seen that yet, I would definitely check it out. But this is exactly what we need at motorway service stations. We've got 7 chargers here with both CCS and CHAdeMO, and so 7 cars can charge simultaneously. I guess you're a little bit out of luck if you've got a Renault Zoe with an AC connection. It seems to be quite a common theme, unfortunately, that the Zoe is getting forgotten about. The fact that the vast majority of cars on the road are CCS now, the Zoe seems to be rapidly getting left behind. I don't think it would kill them to put in some 22 kilowatt AC posts, you know, destination charger style posts rather than rapids. It would certainly be enough to keep you on your way if you drive a Zoe, but unfortunately that seems to be something that's getting forgotten about at a fair old pace. Maybe that'll change as time goes on. I guess at the moment they're dedicating the capacity and the grid connection to what's actually being used the most, but there are quite a lot of Zoes on the road. But yeah, this is quite an impressive installation here. The only criticism I'd have is the bays are quite narrow, and it's not particularly accessible for those in wheelchairs and stuff like that, but certainly that's definitely a sign of some great progress, and it's what we need a lot more of. Anyway, that's enough waffle. Let's get plugged in. So InstaVolt obviously is nice and easy. You could use a contactless debit or credit card, and that's how I guess most people tend to. I actually quite like using the ChargePoint RFID card. It's free to get a hold of one, and you can then manage a ChargePoint account. I know people aren't a big fan of apps and accounts, and to be honest, I'm not myself either, but what I do like, it keeps everything in one place. I don't need to hunt around for the transactions to work out what I spent, so if I'm trying to keep track of what I'm charging, that's definitely quite a good way to do it. And it also shows you the progress in the ChargePoint app. So with a car like the ZS EV, which doesn't have an app and you can't see what the state of charge is, it can be quite handy if you want to nip and have a coffee while you're charging, to be able to keep an eye on the status without having to run out to the car just to see how charged it is, or guess when it might be ready to go. Anyway, as usual, you tap the RFID card on the screen, and it authorises even quicker with this than a contactless card does. Wrestle with the charge cable, which is always great fun, one-handed, and plug her in. There we go. And we're charging. Thinking about it at least. There we go. So yeah, 37%, so a little bit higher than usual, so I don't know how great the charging rate's going to be. 28 kilowatts, 20, yeah, it's probably what I'd expect from the ZS EV when it's not actually that low. If I was down towards 20%, we'd definitely be seeing closer to the full 50, but that'll do. Stopping the charge is just as easy as starting it, of course. As you'll see, I haven't let it charge for very long because I do have somewhere else to be to cover the opening of Rugby Services, the new electric highway flagship site. So we'll end the charge here, so you just scan the card again. And it stops. You can see we took 3.3 kilowatt hours for £1.17. Not the longest charge ever, but that'll do. And yeah, I certainly hope that we're going to see more of this. I think the ending of the monopolisation of motorway services charging by electric highway can only be a good thing for the consumer, even if it does mean you end up with multiple choices of vendor at the same location, and you can make your own choice as to which one you prefer to use. And hopefully we'll get to the point where that won't be just, oh well, you know, I've got a Zoe and Ecotricity are the only provider of AC charging on this site, so I'll need to use them. Hopefully we'll get a little bit more of an actual choice and you won't be strong-armed into using one vendor, but time will tell. InstaVolt have another one of these sites at the northbound services. There's actually 8 units there rather than the 7 here. I'm not sure why the southbound lost out on one. I guess it was either space or grid connection issues, but it's definitely a welcome thing to see. I'm sure some of you are going to say, oh well, they'll quickly all be in use. Well, right now that doesn't seem to be a problem, but I'm sure capacity issues will develop over time. But I mean, I think the fact we've gone from one, I think there's one CCS connector on electric highway here, and God knows whether it works, to 7, it can only be a good thing, good sign of progress. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.